Church family, I just want to tell you happy Easter. He has risen. He has risen indeed. I trust that you had a worshipful, family-focused, Christ-centered Easter. And I just want to encourage you today that the spirit of Easter, the joy of the resurrection does not stop with just the observance of a holiday. But listen to what Paul says in the book of Romans. He says this, but Romans chapter 8, verse 10, but if Christ is in you, although the body is dead because of sin, the spirit is life because of righteousness. If the spirit of him who raised Jesus from the dead dwells in you, he who raised Christ Jesus from the dead will also give life to your mortal bodies through his spirit who dwells in you. Now, I don't know about you, but to me that is incredibly comforting because it means that you and I have hope for the future, because the same spirit that raised Jesus from the dead will raise our mortal bodies, that though we die, we will live. And I hope that gives you confidence as we continue to live in this social distancing and physical isolation and fear of this virus and fear of death kind of pervading our country right now. I pray that this empowers you to live with hope and joy. But not only that, because the power that raised Jesus from the dead is not only for when we physically die, it's also for the here and now. Because Paul continues in verse 12, he says, so then, brothers, we are debtors, not to the flesh, to live according to the flesh. For if you live according to the flesh, you will die. But if by the Spirit you put to death the deeds of the body, you will live. So what Paul is saying there, that the same Spirit, the power that raised Jesus from the dead, that same Spirit, if Jesus Christ is in you, you have his Spirit to say no to sin and yes to Jesus. Which means as isolation starts to feel very old and this quarantine thing kind of loses its luster, we can still choose every day, because of the Spirit, to say no to sin and yes to God. And I don't know about you, but the folks in my household are starting to get a little weird. I don't even recognize these two girls. You guys look at the camera. What is going on? We're wearing masks now. I don't know if we're gonna rob a bank or what we're gonna do. But I know I need that Spirit that raised Jesus from the dead, and so do you. So ask the Lord to fill you with his Spirit today, to keep you focused on the things of God. Continue reaching out and continue to say no to the deeds of the flesh. Say no to sin and say yes to God today. And if you do that, Easter will continue to be alive in our hearts, not just on a day, but every day in our lives and in our church. Girls, can you say goodbye and happy Easter?
Bye! Happy Easter!
Send help!